Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today's video, we're jumping into 3 different stories of what we're seeing out in the field, what we're seeing with working with clients. So give you a good insight into boots on the ground, what's actually happening out there in the San Diego real estate market. Now, in other videos, which we cover, the numbers, what's going on with sales and prices and inventory and all that kind of stuff. It's all great, and we will continue to do more of those. But I always like to dive in and let you know what's actually happening, what we're seeing day to day in the real estate market. And if you guys are thinking about making the move right here in San Diego, buying, selling, relocating, whatever it might be, we got your back. We got a real estate crew right here in San Diego. Feel free to reach out. All of our contact info is right below. And if you want to stay up to date on what's going on, throw us a like and subscribe to this channel. We're dropping new videos here every single week, but let's jump into it. First story is a property we had listed up in San Marcos around that $800,000 mark. It was a condo. We put it on the market about a month and a half and 2 months ago. We had the home priced properly. We went and looked at other properties that had sold right within that neighborhood and did our standard launch it in the middle of the week, Wednesday or Thursday. I came on the market. We had the open house that first weekend. So we had some good traffic going through there. We got a lot of interest in the property, especially at that price point in San Marcos. That's like the entry level price point for this little area. So got a lot of people who were coming through to check it out, had showings out throughout the weekend. I believe we ended up with 4 different offers. So it's not the, 5, 10, 15 offers we saw before, but still it's a competitive market out there. Now our seller did want to respond to 3 of those offers. So those went back out, came back in, accepted one of the offers with really good terms, fairly quick closing, and a little bit above the asking price. So everything was great. And when a buyer gets into a property, there's usually about 4 different areas that there could be a hang up. I mean, there's a lot of them, but there's kind of 4 main ones. Number 1 being inspections. The buyers did their inspections. Everything came out all right. It's a condo. There's, it's not too big of a place, but an inspector's looking at all the systems and just make sure everything in the house is running properly. So we got through that part. Now, when the buyers are getting a loan on a property, you will have to get an appraisal to make sure the price of the home comes in at where it was under contract for. Everything was good there. And then you have your loan contingency and HOA contingency for condos or anywhere with HOA, obviously. So that's kind of where we ran into an issue. We were about a week away from closing, and come to find out, recently, back in January, the HOA had sent out a letter and stating that they had, I believe it was that insurance was canceled. So they had some sort of supplemental insurance in the time being. However, the insurance that they did have in place was only covering common areas. So just the outsides, where in a HOA, you're going to need them to cover the building as well. So that if anything happens, since you are attached to other properties, then that's going to be covered as well. So there were a few ways around it, but ended up being the buyers didn't want to cover the additional cost that it was going to take to cover that gap. So we did take it off the market. We're still working on that right now. And it's actually going to potentially come back on towards the end of July. So if you guys are interested, just drop us a message and we'll get you on that list and let you know when it does come back on the market. But they're working it out. They have to go through the whole process of voting with the HOA and a potential assessment on the property, which we cover in a future video. But we might see that happen more and more as we see insurance companies go out of California and just change policies. Policies are potentially getting more expensive, so that can affect HOA dues. So it really comes down property to property. Story number 2 is some clients we are helping relocate here to San Diego. So they are going to be the buyers. We're looking at properties in that Carlsbad area and ended up finding a property that came on the market, and it was around that $2 million mark. So just to give you a little bit of how the competition is out there. It did have multiple offers that first week, and I believe they ended up with 4 or 5 offers. And so even in that $2 million price point, sometimes we are seeing some competition. Now, this house is in a great area, conditions really good, really nice backyard. So there was a lot of good aspects going for this property. Now to the first weekend, once again, they had a lot of traffic through, they had open house, they had all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of interest in this property that ended up to that 4 or 5 offers. The sellers did end up countering back the offers, meaning it came back, say, okay, what's your highest price? What's the best terms? All that kind of stuff. We see that from time to time as well. Our clients decided to sleep on it and did decide to increase their offer by a little bit and ended up securing the house. One of the reasons I think we did get that 4 to 5 offers is because the initial list price of the home was a little bit less than what the actual comparables of recent sales in that neighborhood were going for. Before we write offers on houses, we go through our own market analysis and let our clients know, okay, here's the recent sales in there. Here's where we kind of think it will land. Here's where the comps or the comparable properties are telling us the price is for the home. So I think where it ended up is actually where the price needed to be. But one strategy that some sellers do use to get a little bit more interest in the property is pricing it a little bit on the lower side to drive some of that demand. So go into that multiple offer situation. And so then when they counter back, like I said, they did increase their price a little bit. We had really tight timelines for inspections, for appraisal, for loan. So all those important details for the seller. They did also offer a rent back on the property, meaning once the property closes, once the escrow period is done, the sellers will get to stay in the property. In this case, it was a free rent back for just about 2 months. And that was also a big selling point for the sellers because in that time, they need to potentially find a replacement property. So what they can do is close on this property, sell this property, get the proceeds within the next few days, and then have that money to go secure the next property, whether it be cash, whether it be they're relocating, whatever the case may be. Our clients gave them the option to stay there for up to that 60 days. So it's a little more peace of mind. So that also helps secure the offer. And the third story comes from somebody who's local here. Cassidy is buddies with them. So they reached out. They actually went to go check out an open house over the weekend. Now, this little area is interesting because there's about 3 or 4 houses that are on the market right now. There's one that's currently under contract. And then within the last 6 months, there's been about 4 or 5 that have sold. And this neighborhood is not too big. So we've seen a few more houses pop up than other neighborhoods around San Diego. And so what that does is adds a little competition for each house going through. So if you are a buyer out there and you're looking specifically in this neighborhood or this area or this specific price point, and you see, oh, this neighborhood has only one house. Well, you might get a lot of offers on that house. You might get a lot of interest in the house. Now you have 3 or 4 houses on that same little area. It spreads it out a little bit. So in this case, homes in that little area have been sitting a little longer. I believe this home was on the market over the weekend. When we checked, it was about 73 days on the market. And they've actually reduced the price a few times. So with that longer market time, with the other houses that are in the neighborhood, you're seeing longer days on market. I mean, 73 is seems like a long time in any recent history that we have, especially over the past 2 years when homes over 2022, 2021, this neighborhood, this little area, homes were going in that first weekend as with anywhere else. Now, as we're going into a little bit different of a market in specific areas, you can see there's definitely some opportunity, especially in homes like this. And I think the actual price that they dropped it to when we were running the comparables again on this property, I think it's actually a little bit below of where the other homes have sold within that neighborhood. So it just goes to show you every neighborhood's going to be different. Every situation is going to be a little different. If you guys are thinking about making a move, you got some questions, you just want to start that conversation. We love it when you reach out, call, text, or email. We'll hop on a Zoom call, get you dialed in. It's never too early. And we'll just make sure you are all set, get all your questions answered so that when you're ready to make a move, you're comfortable and ready to roll. So be sure to hit us up. All the contact info is right below. We got your back when making the move here in San Diego.